Hi everybody, I'm so glad you joined us today. Welcome to Skyrocket Your Business TV show. And we're very lucky today, we have a great guest. But before I talk to Georgianne, I just want to tell you about my book, Skyrocket Your Business in 30 Days, while having coffee with Helen, because I'm always drinking coffee. So pick up your cup of coffee and join me in my book. I met Georgianne quite a while ago, and I was so impressed with her. She's such a great entrepreneur, and we had great conversations, and I asked Georgianne to please come join us today and tell us a little about herself and tell us her little deep, dark secrets of running a business. So, Georgianne, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, my husband and I run our company together, my husband Kevin and I. We've been in business for 24 years. The name of our business is Monday Morning Flower and Balloon Company. And we are a florist with 2 locations, one in Princeton and one in Yardley, PA. And our business is sort of all self-consuming. We enjoy it, we work together, and we just love what we do.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, it's so great to work with your husband, you know, and to enjoy each other. I remember that I always said to my husband, we could never work together. We'd kill each other before the end of the time, but that's fantastic.
Well, it's important to complement each other.
Yes, that's fantastic.
And we're very different people, and we complement each other well.
Oh, that's great. What made you decide to open your own business?
Well, it actually, early on, it was really more necessity than anything else. We were newly married, and I was looking to go back to school, and was just really looking to replace a little income, and I wound up starting a cleaning service. And I ran that for a couple of years, and then realized that I had a passion for small business. So, although I had an associate's degree in management, I decided to go back to school and got a associate's degree in small business management. And then after a few years of running the cleaning service, I was looking for something a little bit more creative to do. And then Monday Morning Flower and Balloon Company was born, and kind of took over my life pretty much. So I can't imagine doing anything else. I've been self-employed for 26 years now.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really great. And when I've gone into your shop, it's like, it smells so beautiful with all the flowers, and it looks so pretty.
Thank you.
And I just walk around, and as soon as I walk in, somebody greets me, which is really nice.
Thank you.
You know, to say, how can I help you? And they usually follow me and tell me about the different flowers.
Well, I have to say, we're pretty passionate about our business in general. Flowers are beautiful. Yeah. Most people dream of working in a flower shop. So I would say most of us that are there really love it, and we're there really because we do love it, and can't imagine doing anything else. So I'm glad, Helen, that you are telling me that, because it means that it shows that we really like what we do.
Oh, definitely.
And we're there to service the customer. I mean, without the customer, we wouldn't really have a purpose. So we're there to serve. We really are.
Yeah, and it's really nice, like when I've gone in there, like I have no idea what I want. And, you know, like they show me the different flowers, and I can picture, you know, where I want to put it.
Well, that's the hardest thing, is flowers are subjective. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and a lot of times people might be picking out some flowers for themselves, but very often they're buying them as a gift. And so that can be challenging to help them to pick out something that the receiver is really going to like. So.
Right.
But everyone loves getting flowers.
Yes.
Everyone remembers the last time that they got flowers. So
oh, yeah, definitely.
they're very memorable.
Yes. And my daughter, on her birthday, always sends me flowers.
Aww.
And thanks me for being her mother.
Aww.
So I know that they're coming.
We have a few people that do that, and it really is very fun. It's unexpected. We always tell people it's great to have flowers in your life all the time, but the real gift of them is the unexpected. So now it's become expected for you, but that's just part of the beauty of what we sell.
Right. It's really great. And I've just been redoing my house, and I was never really in love with flowers. And plants, when I buy them, they say, oh, I don't want to commit suicide, you know. So, but I've redoing my house. It's like I'm bringing flowers in it. once a week, and it really makes a difference.
Studies show, Harvard, Rutgers, Texas A&M have all done studies that flowers actually make you feel better. They have not only done studies but have proof that, and of course the European way is to have flowers in their home every week. They wouldn't imagine living without flowers in their lives.
Right.
So we do some fun things at the store to try to encourage people to bring flowers into their own home. But they actually do make you feel better to have flowers, and green plants, very healthy for you. Sometimes we're looking for everything to last forever, which is definitely a problem. You walk into people's homes and there's clutter, and flowers are beautiful. They're there for a short period of time, and then they're gone, and then you can treat yourself to something new. Just like people, we don't live forever. So everything in nature has its time, and that's the beauty of flowers.
That's right.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep. Created by Mother Nature. You never know what she's going to do.
Right. Right.
Which can be part of the challenges, but is also part of the fun.
That's right. That's right. What do you like about running your business? I know you've been telling me about the flowers.
I love flowers. There's no doubt about it. I love everything to do with a day-to-day goings-on in a small business, and mine in particular, because you have everything from the production of the flowers, getting in a fresh product, almost like a restaurant would, getting in a fresh product, fixing it in a way or doing something with it in a way that's going to make it last, then taking it by hand and creating a gift with it, a piece of art, and the whole marketing and selling of it, the delivery, the dealing with the customers, the dealing with the recipients. It's quite a complicated business. My husband, who's has a master's in finance and has worked in industry for many years, says it's probably the most complicated business model he's ever had to work in, and he's worked in manufacturing as well as in sales positions, and it's very true. But I think that's what I like about it. I think what I love most about it is that no 2 days are really ever the same. And if I look at my business over the course of the 20+ years that I've been in business, so different today running a business, especially in my industry, compared to even 5 years ago, with the advent of the internet and websites and social media, and what the consumer expects and what they're looking for out of the product. So I think what I like most about my industry and being in business are those challenges. I think, honestly, if it didn't really change much in the last 5 or 10 years, knowing my personality, I probably would have moved on to something else, because that's what I enjoy about it. Every day is a challenge. And when you're in retail, let's face it, you're serving the customer. You never know when the phone's going to ring. You could have 6 lines ring at one time while you have 2 people there, or you could have 8 employees working with no lines ringing. So no 2 days are the same, and that is probably what I love the most about it. In addition to loving the flowers, there's no doubt, no doubt in my mind that I love what I sell, but just how it's changed so much over the years. Yeah,
and one of the things, like I was thinking the other day, that I went to 3 meetings that day, and how everyone was so passionate about their business. And I was driving home thinking about it, and thinking how lucky we are. That we have something. And like some days, I don't know about you, but I wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, I just wish I could just go away for the day and forget it all. And other days it's like I'm so excited that I get up in the morning, and I get up early, and the first thing I do is like write on my blog. And it really makes me feel good.
Well, I think in order to be successful in a small business, I think you have to have a true love for your product or service and a passion for it, because as I've said to people over the years, you certainly don't go into a small business or start a business for yourself because of the money, or because you're thinking you're going to be able to control your schedule or work a little less hard. I think most people that go into business and don't last very long and quite frankly fail at it is because they didn't go in for the right reasons.
Yes.
I think the right reason to go into a business is because you can't imagine doing anything else. Now the flip side to that is one of the greatest gifts. Sometimes when money isn't always there, or even in, it's always nice to have someone above you that's your boss that tells you you do a great job, but you don't have that when you own your own business. So you have to be very much a self-starter. But I think one of the greatest gifts is that if all works out well, you go to work and wake up every morning passionate about what you do. And if you don't feel that way about your business or a business that you want to go into, you probably are not going in a good direction. And I think most people that work for someone else, that's what they envy about a small business owner, because it isn't always easy and they don't always see that. But dang it, we do get up in the morning and love what we do.
Exactly.
And wouldn't imagine doing anything else. So that is the best gift that you get.
It is. It really is. It's and thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
Really
I believe it wholeheartedly.
Yes. And but some of the times, I'm up at 6 and at 11 o'clock I'm saying, all right, it's enough, rather.
Well, it is hard to turn it off, and but I think that's a good thing. I think it means because I don't have a lot of hobbies other than my business. I mean, I go on vacation and go into flower shops. So to me, why do you need a hobby if you love what you do 40, 50, 60 hours a week? So I don't need to escape. I love what I do, and I'm okay thinking about it all the time and making it better. And I don't expect my employees to do that. It's my business, but I'm certainly okay with that. That does not make me a workaholic. That makes me passionate.
Exactly.
So
there is a difference.
There is very much a difference. Very
and
much.
what do you think the difference is?
Well, I mean, I kind of alluded to, I do think that you have to be a self-starter, and I think that if you're someone that's naturally a self-starter and a hard worker, that's the skills that naturally are going to lead you to entrepreneurship to begin with. Not everybody is like that. Some people really, really, really work so that they can have their time off.
Right.
I can honestly say I've never been one of those people. Even as a child, I had my schoolwork, and then I was very active in after-school activities and things like that. And I ran, and my least favorite day of the week was Sunday, because to me, Sunday I didn't have anything to do, and I didn't see that as a good thing. Yeah. So I do think it's a characteristic. I mean, if you look at really, really inspirational entrepreneurs over the years, they really are just hard workers by nature, and when they do something, they do it with their whole heart, and they can't think of any other way to be. And I think that is what makes a good entrepreneur and what will separate people from being successful and maybe not. I mean, I can tell you with my business over the years, with ups and downs of the economy, there were many, many times where people certainly, other than myself, would have said, what the heck am I doing? Let me just stop. I'm driving myself crazy. But it just never really occurred to me to give up. As long as I was still enjoying what I was doing. It never really occurred to me to give up. And it never really occurred to me to say, all right, well, I should work so that I could have downtime. It just, you take your downtime when you get it, and you work because you love it.
Exactly. I love what I do. I really do. I love being a coach, and I love, working with people who are in business. And I love this TV show and interviewing people. And but sometimes I find, like, I'll just take a whole weekend off, like Friday through Monday, and just not even go on the computer. Right. I have the guilt, but when I come back on Tuesday, I'm refreshed and, I'm ready to start again. So it's what works for you.
Absolutely. Whatever inspires you.
Knowing what you know today about running a business, what advice would you give to a new business owner?
Well, I think I kind of alluded to the fact that you have to really be passionate about whatever it is you're going to do. And I think that has to be first and foremost. I do think that whenever people ask me, I just met with a young lady that I've known since I did her mitzvah quite a few years ago, and she's already graduated with her master's and thinking about going into her own business. And one of the things that I said to her is, don't do it for the money. Do it because you can't imagine doing anything else. And I think that that's the #1 thing that I tell people.
Right.
Know that, hands down, whatever you're going to do, you're going to be able to bring value to other people's lives with whether it's your product or your service, that you really believe that you have something really, really good to offer, something different perhaps, but be passionate about it.
Yes.
And the other thing I would say is don't give up. I've known many, many people that it doesn't quite go the way they want it to go, and they tend to give up a little too quickly. And they also tend to stick. They have this business plan in their mind, and they say, well, this is what I'm going to do no matter what. And I don't think that you should do that.
No.
I think that you should take your cues and clues from people around you, your customers, friends, and family, and if you need to sway your course, sway your course. I've done that so many times in my career and my business, and usually the good things come from being open-minded and not being, okay, this is what I'm going to do no matter what. So I always tell people, be flexible, look for, when an opportunity comes to you, you have to be open-minded enough to see it. So passion first, don't give up, and be open-minded enough to see when an opportunity is going to be thrown at your feet. Because I think a lot of people actually, quite frankly, don't do that. It's given to them, but they're like, no, that wasn't in my plan, I'm going to go the other way.
Right. And when I first started out, the advice I got was, don't give up your full-time job.
Well,
right away.
True.
Because it takes time.
I've had a few of my employees that have opened their own flower shops, and when they've asked me, I've told them, don't expect to make money right away.
Exactly.
Make sure that you're. I mean, they don't talk about undercapitalization for a reason.
Right.
And it's sometimes people don't understand what that means. And if you're not sure what that means, it's a good time to Google that. But undercapitalization will absolutely kill you, and being overly optimistic. A little realism is a good thing. Entrepreneurs are risk takers, but they're not foolish risk takers. They're usually very calculated risk takers. They very often can't imagine failing. And I think that a lot of times, if they're going to be successful, it's because they've planned for what could possibly go wrong.
Right, exactly.
So that is definitely a good piece of advice.
And
don't quit your day job might be part of that.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
absolutely nothing wrong with that.
And I didn't, until I was ready.
Right.
And the other piece of advice that I give to somebody who is starting out in business is to, when an opportunity comes, don't just jump on it, like to hold back and say, well, is it good or is it not?
Right.
Or maybe go into it slowly.
Right.
Instead of like drop everything.
I agree with that. And one of the things, and it was funny, my husband and I were talking about this not that long ago, and it's very, very true. I think that a true entrepreneur will usually have a gut feeling about things.
Yes.
And you have to, sometimes you think too hard, and that can be bad. And then other times you jump too quickly.
Right.
So I think sometimes trusting your gut feeling in lots of different ways, it can be one of the greatest gifts if you're somebody that has a little intuition and can step out and maybe think about it with the heart and the head somewhere evenly spaced out, not always with the head, because they do say sometimes you overthink things and then you don't act at all, and then other times you act impulsively, and that can be a mistake. I completely agree with you on that.
Right. And the other thing that, I've learned is don't do it alone. Talk to other people. And I really have talked about this on the show a lot, is I've had, people who work for me, and one of the things, I let them go with their ideas.
Right.
Because, if I only go with my ideas, who knows what's going to happen. But we all discuss our ideas, and everybody runs with their ideas.
Well, the truth of the matter is, when you start out with a new business, when they say that you're a chief bottle washer, cook, they're not joking around. And I know when I started my business, I wasn't good at everything. I mean, design is probably, although I'm very visionary when I'm meeting with people about what their flowers are going to look like for their weddings and such, I can see it here, but I'm not as good with my hands.
Right.
So when I started my business, I really realized what my strengths were and what my weaknesses were.
Right.
And as my business grew, though I took a logical course as to who I was going to hire to replace some of the things that I might not be good at. I think realizing that for you to be good at everything is really not a very good thought process, because no one's good at everything.
Exactly.
And having a realistic view of what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are is so important, and that comes with maturity over time.
Yes.
And you realize, okay, I'm not really good at this, and I'm going to, you know, get someone to work with me as a team on things that I'm not good with. I mean, I think that is honestly the reason why my husband and I do work well together. We really are very different people, and he's good at what he's good at, and I'm good at what I'm good at. And although sometimes strong personalities, we recognize each other's gifts and our own weaknesses so that we can rely on each other. And any successful business has to do that, because you'll stagnate your business as it's trying to grow if you don't recognize that you need to hire people to help you out.
Right.
It's very true.
And the big thing is that you're not your business. And that took me a long time to learn.
True.
Because I was looking at the bottom line of how much I was making.
Right.
And that was my self-worth.
Right.
Until I learned that
I'd
that's
say
not
many,
my
many people do that.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think because we're taught that what you know, especially if you go to college, you're taught that what you get paid when you come out is what you're worth.
Right.
And then when you go into business for yourself, and I mean, I went many months, if not years, of various times of growth during my business where I stepped back and didn't make anything as a way of funneling back into the business. So you have to put your, and you and I talked about that when you and I met, you absolutely have to put your ego aside. And I have seen many people's egos be a downfall for their business because they can't, because they're associating their self-worth with things that really have nothing to do with who they are or their self-worth. So, and it is hard when you own a business and you're living and breathing it all the time. And it's funny that you say that, because I watched a video from one of my favorite gurus is a guy called Bob Nagin from Whiz Bang Training, and he deals with people that are in the retail industry, and he does little videos. And one of the videos that he just did this week was, you are not your business. And you are not, you know, if your business is not doing well right now, it does not mean that you are not doing well. You could be succeeding the best you possibly can given the economy and all that. And you know what, we all need to hear that now and then. Especially, I mean, we hear good things about our employees and our product, and we're like, oh, I'm great. That's wonderful. And then there's times when you're like, your employee let you down, or you did something stupid and you're like, I'm bad. But you know what, there's definitely, you cannot have your ego about it. You have to know what your self-worth is, and you have to realize that you are not your business. I completely agree with you on that.
Right. And one of the exercises I have for my clients is every morning look in the mirror and say, you're fantastic, you're great, I love you. And, you know, it might sound, you know, like silly, and you feel foolish. Nobody's around to hear you. But after a while, you know, it like you hear it. And you think,
well, the thing is when you're in business for yourself, you don't have that cheering section that you might have when you had a manager. I know when I'm with all my staff, we have 20 employees at the staff, including my husband and I, and they all need rah-rahs from me on different occasions. I would basically die waiting to get a rah-rah from somebody. I'm not going to get it. I might get it on occasion from an employee or a customer, but generally speaking, I have to pull myself up and be able to do that on my own. So just like you said, you have to, you give them that as training, and some people have never had that. They've had mentors and bosses and co-workers that have worked with them as a team to make them feel better. When you're in your own business, especially if you're a one-man band, you're not going to get that from anybody but yourself. So very, very true.
So remember, guys, when you're out there in the morning and you're looking in the mirror before you're going to shave or put your makeup on, say, I'm beautiful, I'm fantastic, I'm a great business owner, and see what happens. Why don't you tell us about a typical day?
Well, a typical day for me, there's no 2 days that are ever the same. My responsibility at the store is generally speaking, sales are my responsibility.
Right.
So all of the marketing and getting that phone to ring and getting the internet orders to pop in is my #1 priority.
Right.
Managing the sales team, managing the design team, deciding what we're going to be selling, which obviously has a lot to do with if you don't showcase really great products
Right.
for your customers, they're not going to want to buy it.
Right.
So anything that would have to do with that could be a typical day for me. I love answering the phone and taking orders. I love looking and making sure all the designs are up to par,
Right.
doing all the social media, managing the website, pay-per-click, and all that.
Right.
So it can be a very varied day. And I look at myself as the business owner. It's my responsibility to go where I'm needed at that moment. And
Right.
that could be, one whole day could be spent in the office just working on bridal things, doing proposals for brides or meeting
Right.
with brides, because that's what's needed that day. And then there may be other days where I'm needed in the store. So there isn't, I can honestly say there's not a typical day. I'm
Right.
more likely to be assisting the designers than designing, and
Right.
assisting the drivers than driving. But it's a really, really varied day, which I think goes back to why I'm never bored,
Right.
and
Right.
why I have
Right.
really been able to stay in the same business for as long as I have.
Yeah. Well, that's really great. And my day, I make a list of things that I want to do, and 3/4 of them are never done.
Right.
But yet it's like a mind dump to get it out of my head,
Right.
and things just go on during the day.
Right.
And that's what makes my day exciting too.
Well,
Yeah,
planning
okay.
too. I mean, for me, I definitely have goals in mind when I walk
Right.
in the morning of things I definitely need to get done. But being in the retail business, I
Right.
can't plan as much as I think maybe other industries might allow you to.
Right. Yeah. So no, it's very, very true. What special strengths? Well, let's do that over again. What special strengths enabled you to build a successful business?
That's always a tough question. I think working hard. I like
Okay.
working, never giving up. Being somewhat intuitive, I think, has helped me over the years. In my business, in my industry, it's a very old industry. Flower shops, florists, there's been hometown florists for hundreds of years in this country, and
Yes.
of course in Europe. But I meet people all the time that they're third-generation florists, and they don't always roll with the punches of how the industry is going to change. So I think
Right.
I've been a little intuitive about what's needed, and
Right.
I do seem to be a little ahead of the curve on certain
Right.
things. I think that for me and my business, that's been definitely a strength.
Right.
I've always worked. I've always worked many, many hours. I've never really worked a 40-hour work week, and I've never had a problem with working long hours.
Right.
So I think that those are characteristics that have helped me to not give up, even through various recessions and things like that over the last 20 years.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but I think that's really
that's great.
Yeah.
To have intuition and to take a risk.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's really great.
Absolutely.
So why don't you tell people how they can get in touch with you?
Well, we're located in the Princeton Forestville Village. You can shop us online or look at learn a little bit more about our shop at www.sendingsmiles.com. We have
like
two
that.
really great Facebook pages. Facebook.com/local florist is our fan page for our Princeton location, and Facebook.com/sendingsmiles is for our Yardley store. And our Yardley store is located at 45 East Afton, which is right in the borough, between the Continental Tavern and the Yardley Inn. And we're in the Forestville Village, as I mentioned, right between the Westin and Can Do. And we've been in the Forestville Village for about 15 years, so we'd love for people to come out and see us. We have $5 Fridays, which are $5 flower specials on Fridays. Those are fun. We might be pairing those off. We're not sure, with some wine tasting, having a little fun with that. But we'd love for people to come out and give us a peek and find out a little bit more about our store.
So thank you all for joining us, and I'll see you soon.